moving and very convincing intervention. Thank you. Next, Rabbi, please.
With the help of the Almighty, my name is Rabbi Yisroel Dovid Weiss of Neturei Kart International, Jews United Against Zionism. I am here representing, with God's help, the voice of Jews from the streets of Al-Quds, of Jerusalem, and throughout the world. And I pray to the Almighty that He should bestow upon me His truth, His wisdom, that I may convey His message and so sanctify His name and bring peace to the world. Amen. It is critical to understand that we are witnessing this 77 years of Nakba because the world has bought into a falsehood. They believe that we are witnessing a war between peoples, between religions, between Arabs and Jews, between Muslims and Jews, between Islam and Judaism. That is critical to understand, that this is a misnomer, that this understanding is totally a falsehood. It's bogus. The Jewish religion is a religion of 3,000 years to be subservient to God. It is to accept the Torah, the covenant, and that does not permit us to kill or steal. In fact, 2,000 years ago, there was the destruction of the temple, King Solomon's temple, and then the second, and we were under oath by God that we are, furthermore, since then, we are not permitted to reestablish even 1 centimeter of Jewish sovereignty, even in a desolate land, and certainly not by killing or stealing, and certainly not to people who were kind and embraced the Jews, as we've had throughout the last hundreds of years, where the Muslim and Arab communities took in the Jews, and we were able, without any human rights groups to protect us, we flourished amongst them. And although we had a distinctly different religion, we coexisted and were able to produce the greatest rabbinical authorities. And I will quote, at the time when Zionism was attempting to establish a so-called Jewish state, a state of Israel, the Torah authorities, who is the leader of a religion, something called Judaism? It's the rabbis, it's the Torah authorities. So there's 2 different parts of Judaism, the Ashkenazic Jews of Europe and the Sephardic Jews, the ones of the Middle East and the Sephardic countries, now in African countries, the ones from the Ashkenazic countries, which were being led in Palestine by Rabbi Yosef Tzvi Dushinsky of blessed memory, pleaded with the United Nations. It's in the United Nations documents. And I'm quoting him. He said, "We furthermore wish to express our definite opposition to a Jewish state in any part of Palestine, July 16th, 1947, prior to the establishment, to the ratification of the state." And from the Sephardic community, I'm just going to quote, I was this last week in Morocco, Rabbi Yisroel Abu Chatzira, who was called Baba Sali, from 1890 to 1984, well before the state of Israel, and then living in Jerusalem. And he said, "I hereby join the great rabbis of the Sephardic Eidah Charedis in the holy city of Jerusalem in support of their Torah ruling that it is forbidden to participate in the governmental elections because it is against our holy Torah." We have witnessed that this beautiful, the world body, the United Nations that was created in order to be able to adjudicate world conflicts without death and suffering. One of the first moves they did was they ratified this state of Israel. But another thing they did was they approved, they were able to go along for tens of years with apartheid. And they referred to their ambassadors as His Excellency. The ones who opposed them were terrorists. You see, the world body could make a colossal mistake, with all due respect. We are witnessing the ratification of the State of Israel, which was led by Theodore Herzl, but Ben-Gurion called out the State of Israel, the Declaration of Independence, when none of them were covering their heads. They were calling it a Jewish state, the Star of David, Israel, while the rabbis, the authorities leading the Jewish communities universally, every one, all their different styles said this is bogus, it's unacceptable. We cannot witness murder of a people or taking the land away from our brothers and sisters, the Palestinian people, their oppression, what we have heard. I don't have to go, the time doesn't permit, of course, the terrible stories that we're hearing. Our hearts are crying. Because we are Jews, we are demanding, we are pleading with the world leadership that they should not forsake God, the Torah. They should not forsake the bond that they've made with the Almighty, that there is a ruler of the world, and that the international law, which is predicated, which is built into compassion, that there's an Almighty on the world. And they're claiming, the state of Israel, that they have the right to this land because it's given to them by God. And on top of that, they are accusing anybody who opposes them as being anti-Semitic, while in the truth is they are the personification and the identification of anti-Semitism, because we were living together. We were not dying. We were living as brothers and sisters, as history attests. What changed the introduction of Zionism that caused blood of the Muslims? Now we're talking over 50,000 in this last 2 years, well more than that. But since the 77 years, there is an endless river of blood of Jews also amongst the Zionists. And I'm not talking even about the terrible massacres of the Jews, the ones who are getting arrested because they refuse to serve in the army, and the ones who are getting brutally beaten because they are standing in opposition to Zionism day and night for 77 years. We are witnessing this. The world is silent. The world dare not be silent. This is the reason of the United Nations. They made a mistake by ratifying and agreeing that they can have a state that's called Israel when the name Israel is stolen from the Jews. We have suffered in the Holocaust. They're using the third weapon. They use the Torah, the religion. They're using anti-Semitism, and the third weapon is Holocaust. We are children. My father escaped from the Nazis. The majority of my grandparents died in Auschwitz. My father-in-law, of blessed memory, was in Auschwitz. Our families died as Jews, but we did not take that Holocaust, where their ashes, where they proudly died as Jews, to use their ashes to rebel against God and to claim bogusly that we can now oppress another people and steal the land. That is unacceptable. It's against Judaism. Look, you are standing next to Williamsburg, Brooklyn, right across the bridge, the most religious Jewish community here in the United States. Why is there no Israeli flag? People who give their lives for their religion, yet anything that has to do with their religion, they die for. Yet when it comes to Israel, there's not one Israeli flag, because anybody who knows truly the religion knows that Israel is contrary to our religion. It's an evil, and they're killing people, and people are dying, and the world is intimidated. Just in case the world will want to start thinking, because the students are standing up like they did by apartheid. They're standing up, so they're punishing them. They're punishing them by throwing them out of the countries where they're studying in. They're doing, and people are getting arrested. We are pleading with the world leaders. Do not be intimidated. Do not look for the comfort zone that you're in, because tomorrow you may get elected again. Look at that. You're going to have to eventually answer to God, who put you in this lofty position that you have. And we're looking to the United Nations. We are pleading with you. You created the United Nations because there were distinguished people who led countries and did tremendous evil. And you stood and you created a United Nations to save from this evil. Do not be misled again. Please, in the name of Judaism, we are pleading in the name of my brothers and sisters, the Jewish people who are true to our religion, who are day and night standing out in the streets and saying, we died so much for Judaism, we died for God. We are pleading with you. Hear our voice. Save the people of Palestine. You must stop it in its tracks. I don't know how, but let us all pray to God, who's all compassionate, almighty, to help them bring this about. But do what you can. You can do. God help, you will do. We hope, inshallah, a free Palestine. Brothers in Palestine, we are crying with you as Jews. Thank you.
Thank you, Rabbi, for your very compelling intervention. We'll take another comment from the floor before we invite the panelists to respond.